Welcome back, guys. Tyson here. We are working on the GTO right on the front. You can see exactly where I'm working. So here's my problem. See those bolts that broke off into the cage nuts? So that's them. I don't know if you can see it inside there. That one, and then one more over here. This is the one I've been working on. Like, this is good. This is how it's supposed to look. Just the cage nut inside there. You know, that moves around a little bit so you can kind of center the body and everything when you're getting it put back together. Excuse me. So this one has the dreaded broke off bolt. And then, I don't know if you can see, but inside I've just been running my, slide this in here. I've been running my little Dremel with the carbide attachment just kind of along the edge here. Right there, you can see where I'm kind of digging in, and I just want to go straight back that way towards the back of the car. Basically carve out that little line. And I don't know how much room I'm going to get to actually fold, you know, if I can cut this, because it's not connected in the back, I don't believe. As you can see, it's not connected in the front, it's just connected on the sides here. So I think if I cut that all the way through that, and then maybe I can bend that up, just kind of fold that flap up like that, get the nut out, put a new nut in there, bend it back down and weld it. And then I don't have to cut holes in the body to try and get these out, which is what I'm trying to avoid. So this is my first shot on here. I can't really show you guys me dribbling this because it's like my hands are all in the way. You'd never be able to see it anyway. So I'm just going to keep going on it. And hopefully when I get through it, I'll show you the finished product here and then try and get it bent up and see if we can get that nut and bolt out. So stand by. Alright, so I got the my cut pretty much done. You can see in there if it'll focus, maybe. There we go. So you can see my cut through. It's a little wider than I would like, but I mean it's pretty much the width of that little drill bit. So the plan now, I can do this with the camera, is try and pry this up. Seems to be working to a degree. I don't know if it'll work enough. Basically just pry this up. I think I may have to come in from the side and catch the back if possible. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe just like that. There we go. Now we're hitting the back. Yeah, I don't... Try a little more. Whoops. Look at that. And there's one jacked up cage nut. So my goal, or I guess my thought process, is to see if I can put my new cage nut in here, just the nut itself, bend this back down, and then just hit a little line with the MIG maybe to try and keep it in place. And I think that'll be good enough for what I need to do. If I can get in there with the wire brush or something, maybe a little file, and clean this up a little bit before I weld it, I may have to put like a little filler piece because that gap is so big. But let me grab my other nut real quick and we'll see kind of how it fits in there. Okay, so here are my there's the nut, the cage nut, and then here's the new little cage. Like I said, I'm probably not going to use the cage if I can reuse the old one, because to try and get that out and get this one in without cutting a bunch of holes in the body is damn near impossible. So looking at this one, I think it should go in just like that. If I can get it in there. So basically, yeah, if I can just put that in there, slide this down or get it back down, and then we should be good to go. Just want to double check my new body mount bolts to make sure they line up, you know, fit in here, thread in right and everything before I go ahead and do all that. So I'm going to check that. Then I'll get it in there, get it set up, and check back in with you guys, and we'll see how I'm doing. All right, guys, I got the cage cut apart, as you can hopefully see here. The problem I'm running into is this nut right here. The new nut is smaller than the existing one by a considerable amount, so when I bent that down and tried to spin this, thanks to my neighbor who pointed this out to me, it just spun in the cage because it's so small. So, I'll give you somewhat of a size comparison here. If you can see the old versus the new there, the old is considerably bigger for that old cage. This is the new cage that came with the bolts that I ordered, which obviously fits this perfectly, but it's much smaller than the existing cage. So the new nuts work perfectly if I were to actually replace the cage, but I'm trying not to do that because I don't want to cut a bunch of holes in the car. So I have a few options. Either I cut holes in the car and eliminate this cage altogether, or I modify these or find bigger ones. I haven't had much luck finding bigger ones, but I do have plenty of metal. I could probably just, I don't know if you can see that or not, how well that comes across, but you know, I could weld a couple pieces on each end, you know, just a couple little spot welds there to get this closer to this size. I mean, as you can see, it would be pretty close with one on either side, and then I could even do the outsides if I wanted to. It just depends on how crazy I want to get with it. That is a solution that I'm kind of thinking about. The other thing I was thinking is, you know, maybe kind of pushing these in with a screwdriver or something on the back side. I don't know how I can get to this one. Maybe up through this hole and pull it. But that would be the other possibility. But I'm honestly leaning towards just welding on a little bit of metal to the nut to make it kind of match this size. If I can't, I'm still looking for some bigger ones, but I haven't had much luck. So right now, I think I'm just going to modify these nuts, or at least one of them. Maybe run a bolt through them just to keep the threads from warping. I don't think they will, but you never know. I may run a bolt through it while I'm welding on the little tabs just to make sure. As soon as I get something figured out and mocked up, I'll be right back with you guys, so stay tuned. Alright guys, just wanted to show you how I'm working on this nut here to get it to match the old giant one. Old giant one right here, new one. As you can see, just cut a little strip of metal there. And I think if I just keep bending it around with my, basically just mark it right here, then I'll put it in the vise and bend it, you know, with the sledgehammer. So I got one of them done just to kind of show you. I just want to go all the way around it and then hopefully just buzz a tack here and then maybe tack the corners or something. Grind it down a little bit. And I'm not sure if you can really see here, but this should be pretty close. You know, once I get it done, should be pretty close to that same size as the big one there. And this should be a lot cleaner because I was cutting out a bunch of little pieces and I was like, oh, I'll just weld that one there and then weld another one over here and over here and over here. And I was like, it's gonna be tedious in addition, you know, with the grinder cutting them and then grinding them down to make them smooth. And so I think I'm just gonna try this, see if that works. Keep bending it around. Then hopefully I'll just have one side to weld and then some tacks in the corners and should be good to go. So once I get a little closer, maybe once I get it all bent up just to see if I can actually make one that's kind of perfectly fits in here, I'll show you guys the welding and hopefully that'll work. So stay tuned. Alright guys, check it out. I was actually able to get a full piece. As you can see, it's just one full, whatchamacallit, piece of metal there. I just bent around it. Bent it down first. The first bend I did on the my little vise down there. Just bent it 90 degrees and then kind of stuck this into the, I'll show you, into the vise here. Put something under it and then just had it sticking in there like that. Basically with a little bit of it sticking out. Matter of fact, I'll show you exactly what I did. So I just stuck one of these old bolts under here just to keep it elevated. Like that, and then you tighten it up in the vise with the piece sticking up like that, and then you just hammer it down over it, you know what I mean? So you hammer it down kind of like that, and it just lays down flat. You just keep going around it like that, and you're good to go. So now I just have to weld that. I've tried a couple other ones, but they kept messing up the threads inside. Let me see. This one here, you know, a little bit of the spatter got on the threads inside, so I tried a different one covering up the hole with a piece of metal, and it still messed up the threads. So I'm going to try this one with I'm just going to run this bolt through it and tape it up on both sides. So hopefully I can just peel off any of the spatter and preserve the threads. So that's my shot here. I'm going to try that. Hopefully it works. So let me get this buzzed up a little bit here. I just want to weld this, basically that seam. I don't know if you can see it, the little seam right there. So I just want to hit that and then maybe do some corner tacks, and that should hold it. So yeah, let me get going on that, and we'll get back with you when I'm done. Okay guys, excuse my messy area here, but I think we're good to go. This is the old one, that's my new one. I just did some grinding and stuff on the back to level it out and make it a bit more uniform, but I got all four corners. Not sure if you can see that. So now this goes in here, upside down like that, so it can still wiggle a little bit. You can see the whatchamacallit, the cage thing I was grinding out, so that goes in there. Okay, now you can see it. So that goes in there, the nut inside the cage, hence cage nut. This piece comes down, and then I buzz a little seam right here to capture the cage nut. And we should be able to thread it in without it spinning, and hopefully be good to go. There's still a lot of still some unknowns I have with this here, but I think it's pretty close. So what I'm going to do now is bend this down, get it ready to weld, and I'll show it to you right before I get it ready to weld and then weld it. But I don't think I can't, there's no way for me to film this while I'm trying to weld it because it's just not enough room. So stand by, and once I get it ready to weld, I'll give you guys a quick look, and then I'll zip it in, and hopefully we are good to go. Alright guys, so I got it ready to weld. I just wanted to show you my little setup here. So it's basically flush back here. It's a little raised on this side. That side is a little higher than this side. So I'm going to try and do some beads back here and then maybe work this a little bit to get it flush. Even if it's not, it's no big deal. But what I wanted to show you is I have basically a piece of a t-shirt here. You can see it sticking up. I know that lighting's kind of jacked up, so I apologize, but that's stuffed in around basically the nut under there, and I have a bolt going through it to try and keep the threads clean. And that t-shirt is supposed to keep any of the spatter off of the nut and the bolt inside here. And I know that's kind of sketchy because of fire, but I got my little water bottle there just in case. And then I have a piece of metal just laying over it, basically trying to do a little more blocking there for me. So let me buzz do a couple little welds there and see how it comes out, and then I'll get right back with y'all. Okay guys, there you have it. That's the finished product. I was going to grind it down a little bit, and I started to, but I got nervous about the little metal shavings and stuff getting into the threads of the nut there. So as you can see, it spins around in there good now. You can move it around, you know, different angles and stuff when you're trying to get the body actually mounted to the frame. And the screw or bolt goes in there just fine. And it's caged, it spins, it works. So I'm happy with it. It's a little ugly, not gonna lie, but I mean, if you're looking in here, like I said, this thing ain't going to Pebble Beach, so it'll be good enough for what I need. That's pretty much gonna wrap it up for this one, guys. As always, thanks for watching, we really appreciate it. Please continue to comment, like, and subscribe. It really helps us out on the algorithm. So stay tuned for the next one, and we'll see you guys hopefully in a week or so. We'll see.